Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Are you looking for an autism specialist who's autistic themselves and with the times? Well, my next guest, Ashley Simpkins, is just that. Not only is she an autism specialist, she's also an autism advocate, and she's on the spectrum herself, and she's all with the times and everything else. She's my guest, so sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage, and I'll see you on the other side. See you there. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Today I'm joined with Ashley Simpkins, who is an ASD advocate. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Hi, and ASD specialist.
All right. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first and foremost, I identify as a mom because it's the most rewarding part of my life. I'm a mom of 3 children, and they are awesome. On top of that, I've been married for 11 years to my soulmate, and we are very, very happy. We've gone through this whole Asperger's thing together, so it's been quite entertaining for us both. I am a neurodivergent ASD specialist. My background is in psychology. I have both my bachelor's and master's in psychology and multiple certifications, graduate level. And I am here to talk about Asperger's and get down into the nitty gritty of it.
All right. So when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at 30 years old and now I'm 35. So I got a very late diagnosis.
No later than me. I was officially diagnosed in my 50s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was unofficially diagnosed in my 20s because my family doctor, we have two family members who are psychologists. One's a college psychologist, and one's a normal, regular psychologist, and one's a family lawyer. All
Mm.
said to my mother, I think Reed's got symptoms of high functioning autism. And at that point, it was just like a light bulb to my parents because they would answer why I did what I did, why I acted the way I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I see mostly in my clients as well, is like finally when they find out about it, it's like getting you know, the answer, like finally getting the answer. And then it's going down that wormhole of learning all that you can about it, right?
Yeah. Now, do you have ADHD as well?
I don't know. I have OCD, and that's
Mm,
fun, and
yeah.
PTSD.
Now, do any of your children have ASD?
I don't really like to talk about their medical stuff, so I try to keep it, yeah, it's their personal stuff, so I don't want it to be somewhere on the internet, 10 years from now, and it could hurt them in some way.
All right. Why do you think there are those out there who oppose the word Asperger's?
Well, unfortunately, it's because of where it came from. Hans Asperger's was not the best man, and he was working for the Nazis when he was doing studies. And when he was doing studies on autism and Asperger's, he separated the group into who he called his little professors, who were the high functioning Aspergerian. That's the word I use, Aspergerian children. And then he took the other group and named them as autistic, and he tortured them and he did horrible things to them and treated them completely different. But in the end, he actually sent all of them to the gas chambers. So he was a pretty horrible person. And so for years, we had this diagnosis of Asperger's. And so we have people that were originally diagnosed with Asperger's, and that's how they identify. So when we took out Asperger's out of the DSM, and left it with just autism with levels of autism, it kind of caused a huge rough, because now we say scientifically and up to the DSM, there's only autism. And a lot of people follow that like by the book, like that's how they believe it. Like there is just autism and, there's a few levels and that's it. And that anybody who says that they are high functioning Asperger's are basically saying that we're better than other people on the spectrum. And so that's why many mothers get upset about it. And, people are very adamant about the fact that they really don't like the word. And, unfortunately, it's a bigger reality that we have a huge population of people, such as myself, such as yourself, who do identify as high functioning Asperger's. And I believe that we're all allowed to identify however we choose.
Amen to that. I mean, how do you deal with all the hate? I'm pretty sure you get your share of people coming at you. I know you're on TikTok
Yeah.
like I am, and I'm pretty sure you get people saying, "How dare you use that term?
Yeah, I
How do
actually had a
you?"
woman stalk me and she made multiple videos about me saying that I was a horrible person for using the word Asperger's because it makes it sound that all the children diagnosed with autism are lesser than, but they aren't lesser than because I have people that come to me with children who are diagnosed with autism, just like most of us are, but they actually identify with Asperger's and they see it in their kids.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the minute I changed my banner on my Facebook page, somebody that's been following me literally sent me a message saying, "You do know that term is a negative term, yada yada yada." And we just got into this huge argument.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, you know something, you're right and wrong. Yes, he's bad, but you're living in the past.
right.
It's like saying, do you eat at Chick-fil-A? Yeah, well, he's the anti-LGBTQ. Why are you eating
Exactly.
there? Do you drive a VW? That was a German car.
Yeah.
Or a Ford. He was anti-Semitic. How dare you drive a Ford when you know he was against Jews?
Yep. And unfortunately, a lot of science and medical experiments were done during the Holocaust that actually did make progress in the field of not only medicine, but psychology.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is I'm Jewish, and a
I'm
lot of
Jewish
people,
as well.
how about that?
Mazel.
Yeah. And I tell people, listen, I don't take offense to the term. It's something in the past. I don't live in the past. I live in the present.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way, and that's the word, and that's why I coined the term Aspergerian. I don't want people to think I don't know what I'm talking about, but we are an Aspergerian population. We don't, there are, so many differences between autism and Asperger's that I just don't get how people can't see the difference. And in my research, I have found that it's become people are admitting within the field that taking Asperger's out of the DSM was a mistake. It's caused a lot of damage for a lot of people, and it's likely that they're going to be putting it back in. They'll probably use another term. I'm sure they'll have to PC it up, but it's coming back.
Now, what do you think of the word neurodistinct over neurodivergent?
I don't see a difference. I do you?
Well, a lot of people say neurodivergence is a very diverge, mean it's a very negative word, where distinct is a very positive, meaning we're distinct people.
I think diversity is a positive word. I mean, just look at America. We're diverse. The diversity in and of itself is what makes us beautiful.
Yeah. Now, what inspires you?
My kids to be the best version of myself and utilize everything that I have inside of me so that I can be the best, like I said, like the best version of myself, business wise, home wise, everything. Um, they are like my soul walking around in three little bodies. And I want to make sure that they know that it doesn't matter what you have to face, you keep going. And whatever you dream, you can make it come true. And so I have to be that example for them.
So you see a lot of yourself in them.
I see that the old soulness, the intelligence, the ability to understand way beyond their years. Yeah.
Now, you are a specialist. What age range do you deal with?
I deal with 18 and up, adults only.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah, it's
you,
very rare to find an ASD specialist for adults.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure they share their own special interests with you, and you probably come across a lot of different ones.
Oh yeah. As the saying goes, and unfortunately the saying is just autism, but once you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. You know, they're all so different. But I will say that percentage wise, a huge percentage of them are into computer technology, mathematics, engineering, those types of fields. I haven't met one that likes psychology.
That's
So,
interesting. Or one that is very artsy.
oh, they pretty much all are. So am I. That's like almost a hands down. Yeah.
Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself succeeding in my businesses and hopefully being more well known in the Aspergerian community, you know, being able to um, do podcasts and shows. And, you know, I've always wanted to, it's a dream to go on TED Talk. And I hope that
Hmm.
I'm able to not only grow my businesses, but and become, you know, the best version of an ASD specialist as I can be. But there's always more. You know, I mean, I might write a book. Well, I'm definitely going to. I just the next 5 years. But also, what's really important in the next 5 years are my kids' ages and making
Hmm.
sure that I am there for them as much as I possibly can be.
Now, would you say psychology is your hyper focus?
Yes and no. I'm also very into politics, philosophy, growth mindset, uh, basically positive PMA, positive mental attitude. It goes all over the place, even into spirituality. So it was just about psychology in the beginning, but I've gotten so far in psychology and also with self-study, of course, that, you know, and then I also did the international graduate certification in autism. So it's all over the place.
You're kind of like me. I started with one, and then it's like whatever seems interesting at the time, I gravitate towards.
Right, yeah. I'm constantly listening to an audiobook. Like there's never not one going on while I'm, you know, cleaning and doing stuff at the house.
Now, would you say your kids are your motivation?
Yes, yes. Because I want them to be proud of me. I don't want them to have be embarrassed.
Now, here's an interesting question. Why do you think there is such a huge community of those of us on the spectrum on TikTok?
Because it's a way for us to actually communicate and get out there in the world. You know, COVID totally changed everything, and then TikTok on top of it. It's almost like it opened the gateway for us to be able to communicate to the world in a way that's comfortable for ourselves. Like being able to be behind a computer screen and still be functioning and productive and doing things. And so it's creating a whole new culture. And the Asperger's community just happens to be better at it.
So true. I mean, I just see more and more people who are part of the hashtag autism community as I'm scrolling through TikTok. It's just, I think it's also because we are such a creative bunch of people. It's a
Yeah.
great outlet for us.
And so, yeah, it's big time. It really is. I mean, even the videos that I've done, my clients have, edited some of them and created logos and stuff like that. So, of course, yeah, I mean, the creativity is abundant
Now, why do you think there are more and more people are coming out now than ever before realizing that they're on the spectrum?
because it's becoming socially acceptable. Even though neurotypical people don't necessarily know what it means, or and they basically have never heard of the word neurodivergent or neurotypical. So, I mean, um, people are identifying with others on social media. That's the huge influence. So we're seeing the videos. It's the same thing like if you have a narcissistic person in your life and then you go on TikTok and it's all about narcissism, then you learn really quickly and you can identify that in another person. It's like a hyper speed psych 101.
What is the one thing that drives you?
My motivation is intrinsic and it doesn't stop. I just I just I don't give up, you know.
All right. And finally, where can people find out more about you and all you do?
On my website, genesistransformations.com, I have everything on there about what I provide and what you'd be prepared for. So I definitely would say check that out. Maybe we can put it in a link so they
Hmm.
can click on it.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Ashley Simpkins, ASD advocate and specialist. See you in the next one.
Yep.